Having gone through the basics of semiconductors and PN junction diode, now we are ready to understand the chapter number 2, that is called as power supply. Okay, so this is a very important chapter. Highest lot of weightage has been given to this chapter. Lot of questions will be asked on this chapter. We will go step by step. We will try to understand the entire designing of power supply. Basically, power supply will be nothing but a voltage source, a DC voltage source, which we are going to use in laboratories or for any device which works on DC source. Okay, so what we are trying to understand in power supply in this chapter is the switchboard, the connection, the switchboard which we have at home. Okay, it provides you AC, right? And the AC value is 230 volt AC. Of course, most of the instruments which works on DC doesn't require this much voltage. Okay, so what you have to do is, what we need to convert is, by designing a power supply, we will convert 230 volt AC into a DC, a pure DC which has a straight line. So this is the DC, and the voltage can be 3 volt at the output, 5 volt at the output, 9 volt at the output, 12 volt at the output, or 18 volt at the output. Most of the instruments which is designed for DC source will be around this potential. A very good example is your mobile phone. Okay, so when you charge your mobile phone, what you are doing is, the charger, what it does, it converts AC 230 volt into DC required by the phone. Everybody knows that mobile phone has a DC battery inside. You charge the rechargeable DC battery, and there is a clearly mentioned potential on the charger. It depends upon the battery, of course. It can be 3 volt, it can be 3.5 volt, sometimes it can be 5 volt also. So we need DC source of different potentials. In laboratory, the potential can increase up to 9 volt or 12 volt. In some applications like tea maker and there are the sound systems, there are number of applications where you use DC and it requires around 18 to 20 volt, not more than 20 volt is required. So around this potential we will be using. The first thing which we will try to understand under the heading power supply is elements of power supply. Elements of power supply. So let us try to understand what are the steps needed to convert a 230 volt into 3 volt, 5 volt, 9 volt, 12 volt or 18 volt DC. So elements of power supply, in that first element which we will try to understand is transformer. Okay, transformer, there are two types of transformer, step up and step down. Of course, we are going to use step down transformer. The purpose of transformer is to convert high AC voltage into low AC voltage, high AC voltage, high AC current into low AC voltage, low AC current. Okay, of course the output of the transformer will be depending upon the requirement of the instrument which we are going to drive by this power supply. Okay, so it can be, say, I'll say 9 volt. Okay, so if it is 9 volt DC we will convert. Similarly, there will be current mechanism, the current which has to be reduced. So in the laboratory purpose, the device which we runs on DC will work at 250 milliampere, 500 milliampere, 1 ampere and maximum of 2 ampere. So this is the current rating of the transformer. You have to decide. For example, as I said, some devices works on 3 volt, some devices works on 5 volt. So accordingly you have to select the transformer which gives the output as 3 volt or 5 volt. At the same time, there is a current rating also. Okay, so if you see your charger for mobile phone, it will mention it will mention the voltage as well as the current rating. It is around 1 ampere or 2 ampere. You can see it will be written on the screen. So the transformer which has been used inside that black box will convert AC into DC, and what will be the voltage? This will be the voltage, this will be the current or the rating which has been specified on the the device. Okay, let us try to understand what exactly we mean by transformer. A transformer has a primary winding and a secondary winding. Okay, so when current flows, this is nothing but a coil which has, if a length of wire which has been coiled is nothing but an inductor, right? So when current flows through the coil, a magnetic field is produced. Okay, in that magnetic field we have kept one more coil. If the current is changing, magnetic field is changing, and this change in the magnetic field will induce the current into the second coil, which is called as your secondary. Okay, which is called as secondary, and this is called as primary. Okay, so the formula for the transformer is NP upon NS equals to VP upon VS. Number of turns in primary upon number of turns in secondary equals to voltage across primary upon voltage across secondary. So we know these two, like say 230 volt, and say the output voltage required is say 5 volt. Okay, so at secondary we need 5 volt. So we know the number of turns. Accordingly we can design the transformer. This is called as ordinary transformer. Ordinary transformer. Okay, where you have primary. I hope you have understood what I said. We have two set of coils, primary and secondary. In primary coil, when current is flowing through the primary coil, magnetic field will produce around the coil. In that magnetic field, if you keep a secondary coil, what happens is current will be induced in the secondary. What you can see is I have purposefully kept the number of coils in the secondary less as compared to primary coil. That means the voltage which will be induced in the coil will be less as compared to the voltage across primary. So that type of transformer is called as step down transformer. So basically transformer, what it does is high AC voltage, high AC current will be converted into low AC voltage, low AC current. So this is one of the transformer, we say ordinary transformer. If there is one more transformer where you have a primary coil and there are secondary coil, and the exact center of the secondary is grounded, so the secondary is divided into two. This type of transformer is called as center tap transformer. Okay, this type of transformer is called as center tap. In some application we will be using center tap transformer. For all other applications we will be using the ordinary transformer. The formula for transformer will be NP upon NS is equal to VP upon VS. Okay, so next what we will do is the next block or the element of the power supply is rectifier. Okay, rectifier. When I taught you digital multimeter, I told you there was a block called as rectifier which converts AC into DC. As this hasn't been, transformer doesn't convert AC into DC. It converts high AC voltage into low AC voltage or high AC current into low AC current. Next step is to rectify, that means convert AC into DC. This is where we need the understanding of PN junction diode. That's why I gave you the introductory video to understand what exactly a PN junction is, what is forward bias, what is reverse bias, what is the junction resistance during forward bias, what is the junction resistance during the reverse bias. All these things you have to understand. Okay, so what the rectifier does, rectifier converts AC into DC. Okay, the output of the rectifier will be like this. Okay, so of course direction flow of current is only in one direction. This is say 0 and this is positive, this is negative. So what you can see is the amplitude is not changing with respect to the polarity of the the signal is not changing with respect to time. Of course, the amplitude is changing, polarity is not changing. If polarity is not changing, of course it will be DC. But will that be a pure DC? Will that be a pure DC? How pure DC is? Pure DC is a straight line. So are we getting a straight line at the output of the rectifier? So no, answer is no, and this is called as fluctuating DC. This is not a pure DC. So we make sure that we have to make sure that we get a straight line. So under the heading of rectifier, we will try to understand half wave rectifier, full wave rectifier, and full wave bridge rectifier. Under this heading, we will try to understand three such circuits which converts AC into DC. Okay. The next block is called as filters. Okay, filters. Now what you can see is filters. Why filters is needed? As I said, output of the rectifier is not pure DC. Some AC component is mixed in the DC component at the output of the rectifier. This is called as ripples. Okay, this is called as ripples, and that type of signal is called as fluctuating DC. So what you need to do is the AC component has to be removed. Output should have only DC component. So we design filters. So we will try to understand four filters: capacitive, inductive, LC, and RC filters. So the output of the filter will be like this. The output of the filters will be like this. What you can see is now most of the AC component has been removed. So output will be almost a straight line. But is that a pure straight line? No, it's not a pure DC. Still, there will be small fluctuation which will be there at the output of the filter. So the last block which we will do is, we will try to understand is voltage regulator. Okay, voltage regulator. Now, of course, you have heard this word regulator. You have fan regulator. What it does is, if you keep the regulator at a particular number or particular value, say 3, 4, it controls the speed of the fan, right? Once you have set into a particular speed, the speed will not decrease or increase, it will be constant. So regulator is a device which keeps anything constant. In case of fan, it will be speed which will be constant, right? In case of power supply, we said voltage regulator. That means it keeps the output voltage constant. Understood? It keeps the output voltage constant. So what we are going to get at the output will be a straight line, which is nothing but a pure DC of required value. There is a very important condition which has to be remembered. For example, as I said, suppose we are designing a 9-volt power supply. If you are designing a 9-volt power supply, that means this is the requirement. I want DC 9 volt at the output. If you need DC 9 volt at the output, the secondary voltage should be 3 volt more than the required value at the output. Understood? The transformer's secondary voltage, that means the selection of the transformer depends upon the requirement at the output. So if 9 volt is the output requirement, what you have to do is the secondary volt should be 12 volt. Okay, so for ordinary transformer it will be 12 volt and 0. That means this is the output voltage. Okay. And for center tap transformer it will be 12, 0, 12. That is how it will be specified when you want to go and buy a transformer. This is what is the difference between ordinary and center tap transformer. So what I said, if the output requirement is 9 volt, then the secondary voltage should always be 3 volt more than the required value. So secondary voltage which we will select will be 12 volts. So the transformer which we are going to select will be 0, 12 or 12, 0. That means the output voltage will be 12. Okay, so under the heading of voltage regulator, we will try to understand 4 such regulators: Zener regulator, transistorized regulator, 3-terminal voltage regulator, and SMPS. So these are the 4 voltage regulators. So this is the elements of power supply. So there may be a question of 3 marks on elements of power supply. So what you will write is, the first one is transformer. What it does? It converts high AC voltage, high AC current into low AC voltage, low AC current. There are 2 types, step up, step down. In step down, we have number of turns in secondary less as compared to number of turns in primary. So voltage drop across primary will be more as compared to voltage drop across secondary. So as per requirement, NP upon NS is equal to VP upon VS. If you know, say 230 volt and the output required is say 12 volt, of course you know the coil ratio, NP upon S is number of turns in primary upon number of turns in secondary. Of course it will be number of turns in secondary will be less as compared to primary. So by this formula we can select the ratio, and accordingly we can design the transformer. After transformer, there is rectifier which converts AC into DC, but the output of the rectifier is not a pure DC, it has ripples. What is ripples? The AC component mixed in the DC component at the output of the rectifier, and that signal is called as fluctuating DC. So that signal is passed through filters. 4 filters we will try to understand: C, LC, L and RC, capacitive, inductive, LC and RC. What is the purpose of filters? Bypass AC and produce DC at the output. So almost a straight line is obtained, but still there is a small fluctuation in the output, is not exactly a straight line. So we need voltage regulator which keeps the output voltage constant irrespective of any change in the input or any change in the output load, right? So that is what is the elements of power supply, and this is what we will try. This is what is all about elements of power supply. I hope you have understood. Now, having understood the working of transformer, let us try to understand the first block or the second block of the elements of power supply, that is rectifier. Okay, rectifier. What it does? Rectifier is a device which converts AC to DC, right? What are AC signals? The AC signals are the signals which changes its polarity as well as amplitude with respect to time, right? So basically when we understand or when we see a signal and we try to understand about AC signal, we see where if the polarity is changing with respect to time, we say it is AC. If the polarity is not changing with respect to time, it is DC. So that is what is the basic purpose of designing a rectifier. Of course, here we will try to understand, we will use PN junction diode. So if you have not understood PN junction, please go to the introductory video, try to understand PN junction, its working, its forward bias and reverse bias condition, its resistance, junction resistance during forward bias and reverse bias. It will help you to understand these rectifiers in a very easy manner. Okay. Of course, let us try to design the first one called as half wave rectifier. Half wave rectifier. In a half wave, of course, when we design a power supply, the first block will always be a transformer. Okay, and we have to use step down transformer. So number of turns in secondary should be less as compared to number of turns in primary. Okay, so the AC signal or the 230 volt AC signal will be applied across the primary. So this is your primary and this is your secondary. Okay, so primary will be specified as P1 P2, secondary will be specified as S1 S2. So in case of half wave rectifier, what we will do is we will connect a PN junction. I hope you understand the symbolic representation. This is the P region, this is the N region. Okay, and this PN junction is connected in series with an output resistance across which output voltage will be taken. And what we say is whenever we take output voltage across any resistance, we consider it to be, or we call it as load resistance. The current which will be flowing through that resistance will be load current, or we will specify it as IL. So in a half wave rectifier, only one PN junction is used and it is connected in series with the load resistance. Okay, so now let us try to understand the working as well as the output waveform of the circuit. Now see, there will be two conditions. Okay, this is your input AC. Now input AC is changing its polarity with respect to time, right? This is positive cycle, this is negative cycle. So we have to understand the working of this circuit for positive as well as negative half cycle. Okay, let us say during positive half cycle. Okay, now what happens is, during positive half cycle, the direction of current to the primary will be like this. Okay, current to the primary will be like this. So what happens is, P1 is more positive as compared to P2, and as I said, when current will flow through the coil, magnetic field will be produced. In that magnetic field we have kept one more coil, so magnetic field will induce current. The direction of current remains the same. That means S1 is more positive as compared to S2. So that is what we will say. Hereafter we will assume that this is what is called as mutual inductance in a transformer, and that is how current will flow through the secondary. Of course, the amount of current depends upon, direction of current remains same. Amount of current depends upon the number of turns. As the number of turns is less current will be flow, and if less current is there, less will be the potential difference, right? Potential drop across the secondary. So depending upon how much voltage we require at the output, we will do NP upon NS, number of turns upon primary upon number of turns in secondary. So during positive half cycle, P1 is more positive as compared to P2. Therefore S1 is more positive as compared to S2. Now just look at the PN junction diode. See, what happens is, P is connected to positive and N is connected to negative. So when P is connected to positive, N is connected to negative, the diode is called as forward biased. Okay, forward biased. In what happens in forward bias? P region consists of holes, N region consists of electrons. Both this charge carrier will move towards the junction, and near the junction there is a depletion layer. What is depletion layer? It is depleted of charge carrier. Now you have applied a polarity in such a way that this charge carrier will move towards the junction where there is no charge carrier. Okay, that means you are supplying charge carrier to the depleted region. So what happens to the layer? The layer will keep on shrinking. Okay, and at some point it will vanish. If it is vanished, what will, there will be no resistance. That means during forward bias in a PN junction there is no resistance, right? It will act as a switch, on switch. Okay, that means current will flow through the PN junction diode. A very small voltage of 0.3 volt and 0.7 volt will be dropped across a PN junction diode if the diode is made up of germanium or silicon respectively. Okay, that will be the drop across the PN junction diode. This we have understood in the introductory video of PN junction diode in forward bias condition. That potential is called as knee voltage. Okay, so it is very important that you understand, during forward bias in a PN junction, when the PN junction is forward bias, the junction resistance is minimum. That means voltage drop will be minimum, current will be maximum, right? So that is the condition. So during forward bias, during the positive half cycle, P1 is more positive. P1 is more positive as compared to P2. Therefore S1 is more positive as compared to S2. So in this case what will happen is, PN junction is forward biased, and if it is forward biased, resistance is very low, and if the resistance is very low, the entire secondary voltage will be dropped across load resistance. Okay, so say what we require is, say for 9 volt DC we need a 12 volt secondary transformer, and if there is a 12 volt, what will be the voltage drop across, say considering the silicon diode, so it will be 0.7 volt. So what will be the voltage drop? It will be 11.3 volt. So almost entire secondary voltage will be dropped across RL. So if you draw a waveform, output waveform, what you can see is this is positive half cycle, this is negative, this is positive half cycle, this is T, this is with respect to V. So if you take the output, almost the entire secondary voltage will be produced at the output. Okay, the positive half cycle is rectified. Okay, positive half cycle is rectified. Let us now try to understand what happens during the negative half cycle. So during negative half cycle, now what happens is direction of current will change. Direction of current will change. So what will happen is, now P2 will be more positive as compared to P1, and S2 will be more positive as compared to S1. Okay, so during negative half cycle, P2 is more positive as compared to P1, and S2 is more positive. S2 is more positive as compared to S1. So now what will happen is, now P is connected to negative, N is connected to positive. So this is the polarity now. P is connected to negative, N is connected to positive. Now P has holes connected to negative charge, and electrons are in N region you have electrons negatively charged, but they are connected to positive terminal. So this is called as reversed bias. So in reversed bias, what happens is the charge carrier move away from the junction. When they move away from the junction, that means the depletion layer will keep on increasing. That means the resistance offered by the PN junction diode will increase. Again, you have to make sure that you understand the introductory video, where I have clearly mentioned that what happens during the forward bias and what happens during the reverse bias. So in reverse bias, the depletion layer width increases. That means the potential barrier increases, resistance increases, no current or negligible amount of current will flow through the PN junction diode. That means now what you can see is, out of these two, okay, PN junction is now acting as an open circuit because the resistance is very high. So the entire secondary voltage will be dropped across the PN junction diode. Entire secondary voltage will be dropped across PN junction diode, and there will be no voltage drop across the load resistance. Understood? So if that is the case, will there be any negative half cycle at the output? No, it will be as if the negative half cycle has been clipped from the circuit. Again, when there is a positive half cycle, still again what happens, P1 will be more positive as compared to P2, S1 will be more positive as compared to S2, diode will be again forward bias, resistance offered by the diode will be less, therefore the secondary voltage will be dropped across load resistance. So again, positive half cycle will appear at the output. So what you can see is, in the first circuit, the direction of signal is changing its polarity with respect to time, but here the direction, it's unidirectional, direction of current remains same. So this is AC, this is AC, and this is DC. We say we convert that is how we say rectifier converts AC into DC. Now there are two things which has to be understood. Okay, what is DC signal? It will be a straight line, pure DC or straight line. Is this a pure DC? Because the amplitude is changing with respect to time. So if the amplitude is changing, that means it's not a pure DC. That is the first thing. And second thing is, only the positive half cycles are rectified. The negative half cycle is clipped from the circuit, and that is why the name half wave rectifier. Okay, so when this question will be asked, it will be asked for 3 marks. What the things which you have to write is, first you have to draw the diagram, Then what we said is, during positive half cycle, P1 is more positive as compared to P2, therefore S1 is more positive as compared to S2. Diode is forward bias, resistance offered by the diode is very small, hence the entire secondary voltage will be dropped across RL. All the secondary voltage will appear across the output. Okay, during the negative half cycle, P2 is more positive as compared to P1, therefore S2 is more positive as compared to S1. Diode will be reversed bias, and when the diode is reversed bias, the resistance offered by the diode will be very large, so the entire secondary voltage will be dropped across the diode. No voltage drop will be there across RL. It is as if the output will be clipped. Negative half cycle will be clipped from the output. Okay, so that is what we have to write as P1. S2 is more positive as compared to S1. The diode is reverse bias. Resistance offered by diode is very large, hence the entire secondary voltage is dropped across diode and no voltage drop across RL. So it is as if the negative half cycle will be clipped from the circuit. So that is how you get this waveform. Then this is DC, so that is why we say rectifier converts AC into DC. But the disadvantage of this circuit is only one half cycle is rectified, the other half cycle is clipped from the circuit, and that is why the name half wave rectifier. I hope you have understood. To remove this disadvantage, we will try to understand one more type of rectifier called as full wave rectifier.